Hello, I'm at GoFromTheHouse.com, and this is a 2019 Arbor Westmark Frank April edition. And I'm on freestyle deck designed for beginner to advanced level riders. This is actually Frank April's limited edition kind of colorway and deck. It has the same construction materials as the regular Westmark camber version, but it has a slightly different nose and tail, kind of like uprise shape. It has a classic kind of like hammerhead style shaping to it. It's true twin, has a centered stance. But as you'll notice, the last like about inch of this board has like a nice little hook to it, both on the nose and the tail. And if you ever jump with this deck, it's awesome because you can grab that nose and tail and just like crank that thing, and it actually provides like a nice little handle to it. The Westmark Frank April version of the board is pretty much identical to the regular camber version. Yeah, it's true twin, centered stance. You can ride it this way or this way, it's going to feel the exact same. And it does feature that parabolic camber profile shape that everyone seems to love about Arbor style boards. Notice how the center of the board is actually raised off the snow. It actually has a nice little arc to it. But what's different about the parabolic camber versus regular camber is that it actually mellows out just a little bit as it gets to those contact points. Now, contact points on camber boards tend to be really, really catchy. You know, if you come up a couple degrees short or over rotate a little bit on a jump or coming off of a jib, sometimes those contact points can like dig in the snow and you fall. What Arbor's done with that camber shape and those catchy contact points is that they've actually raised them up with what's called uprise fenders. So on each of the shoulders of the board is actually raised up 3 degrees, so it's less catchy, but it still has the great properties of a camber profile shape pop. And so that pop in the board is going to be right at that contact point, and it's going to be really quick edge to edge. The feel and flex of the Frank April edition is the same as the other one. It's about a 5. And the rocker version is about a 5 as well, but it's just going to have a little bit different feel because of that edge-to-edge response. The wood core is actually called poplar, and it's called the single malt wood core, and it has both a biax glass on bottom and on top. The great thing about biax glass is that torsionally you can still steer really well with your feet. So if you're locking in front board, you can actually twist it a little bit to be less likely to catch directly between your feet. Another cool thing about the Frank April edition is the ash power ply top sheet. Kind of gives the board just a little bit of extra strength. The base is sintered. There's very little, surprisingly enough, very little structure to it. So if you're in really wet conditions or really humid conditions, you'll probably want to add some structure. If you're in really cold and dry areas, you should be fine, of course, with that. But this has been factory waxed by Wind Waxworks. There's a 360 wrap standard steel edge and a 360 sidewall too, which is actually pretty cool, which allows the board to have a full grain wood core all the way to those tips. Another great thing about the Westmark Frank April edition is the Grip Tech edges. Grip Tech actually adds additional contact points to the board, both directly underneath your toes and your heels, and they do that by having unblended transition zones between the tri-radial side cut. There's 3 different side cut radiuses, one large one on the nose, one large one on the tail for those big sweeping turns, and a smaller one in between the feet for those quick edge cross underturns. And those unblended zones actually create grip tech. They kind of protrude out and help you to grip on really firm snow. This is a rad board. It comes in a really cool graphic. Again, basically the only difference between this and the regular parabolic camber Westmark is that it has a little bit of uprise on the tips, about the last 1.5 inches or so. Different great graphic on both on the base and of course on the top sheet. But overall, if you like supporting Frank April, do that by getting this deck at thehouse.com by selecting the link below. Leave a comment or question. Let us know what you think of this thing here. And of course, subscribe to the channel there, check out more vids there, and hopefully see you guys on snow. Peace.